Paltrocast. When you finish 10,000 volts, which hit #1 in Sweden, it's got 20 vinyl variants, high charting in a lot of countries, another successful record for you.
It was #1 here on iTunes and Amazon for a few days.
So you knew outright, hey, this is a hit and a great album?
Halfway through the process, the first 5 songs we recorded together, they were all great. And, Steve said to me, I promise you, if you let me co-produce this record with you and do all the songs, I promise you we're going to have a hit record. And I looked at him and I said, okay, let's fucking do it.
Now, I know Steve, I interviewed him for my latest book. Always a nice, smiley, pleasant guy, surprisingly not dark for a songwriter and a producer. How did you and Steve Brown first meet?
Well, I've met Steve a couple of times over the years, but just in a casual situation. What really made it all happen was my fiance, Laura Cove. She was friends with Steve, closer than I was. And, she was aware of his abilities, and she really was pushing me to give him a call and get together with him, at least on one song, and see how it turned out. And I'm so happy I listened to her, because first song we collaborated on was Walking on the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve had this song pre-recorded, and one line in the chorus was Walking on the Moon, but it wasn't the last line. I said, listen, let me rewrite all the lyrics and maybe add a bridge and stuff, and do a guitar solo, bada bing, bada boom. We're going to have a great song. And that's what happened.
That seems to be a common thread in your career. The last time I had the pleasure of interviewing you, and Bronx Boy.
When was that?
3 years ago or so. We were talking about
Spaceman?
Yes, for the Spaceman record. And you were talking about how the lyrics, I like green tea, somehow became Bronx Boy. And then if we go way back into stuff, we know that Into the Void, that was another song. So it seems like
that was originally Shaking Sharpshooter.
Right. So you have a good history in editing. In other words, you hear a good idea, but then you kind of turn it from good to great or good to excellent.
We had just going back to what you said about Into the Void, we had recorded the basic track of that with Peter Criss on drums. And that was the only song Peter played on the record. And I think it was the only song I played on. Paul and Gene were control freaks, and they were using Tommy Thayer and other musicians.
Sure.
Be that as it may, after recording the basic track, Gene said the lyrics don't fit the record. Because I'm talking about a cowboy, and so I said, Gene, give me 30 minutes. I went up into the loft and rewrote all the lyrics. He said, why don't you do something like about space, like Into the Void or something? And then all of a sudden that clicked in my head, and I rewrote all the lyrics in 30 minutes, because I write lyrics relatively fast, or faster than most people I've worked with. And he said, these are great. Let's go out and sing it. And it made it on the record. But if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't even have had a song on that record, Psycho Circus.
And Into the Void holds up. Take the compliment. There's no but. It holds up all these years later. So this new record, are you doing any of the songs live besides the title track when we see you live?
Well, right now, live, we're performing 10,000 volts, and we're planning on working in Cherry Medicine. And, things are just going onwards and upwards, I think right now, since I've been a solo artist, I'm more popular than I've ever been. A part of that has to do with the fact that not only is it a great record, but the record company hired a social media specialist, and
Right.
he opened up all my social media apps and got me on TikTok and Instagram. And, I've always been on Facebook, but, I really, I'm not the kind of guy that hangs out all day going on fucking, apps, because I don't have the time. And it really doesn't interest me what other people think half the time. So,
Sure.
but,
Well,
you know,
it's interesting to me how you were an early adopter of computers. You had that computer endorsement in the 80s. Then you kind of dipped out. Then you
I was
became
with
heavy into,
Zenith Computers.
yeah. So you kind of went in and out and back into computers in your life.
Well, do you remember the video that was on the left and right side of the stage when we toured doing the Psycho Circus tour?
Sure.
It's 3D.
Yeah.
We had some 3D stuff happening, but remember the morphs of the four of us morphing from one makeup into the next?
Yeah. You did that?
Yeah, I created that.
Wow.
The
So
next day, Gene went out and bought me $15,000 worth of computer equipment. He goes, Ace, you know what you're doing. Keep doing it.
so Rudy Sarzo's not the only animator in hard rock. There's also you.
Oh, I've done tons of animations, much more complicated than that morph.
Wow. Well, a couple of speed round questions, and then I'll let you go because let's face it, the whole world wants to talk to Ace today. And these come from diehard fans of yours, some of whom very known musicians. And the first one comes from Norman Craker. He says, "Thank you for the years, many years of inspiration. What is your favorite solo or the one you're most proud of in Kiss that's not including one of the songs you wrote?"
I love the solo. I did in Shock Me and Strange Ways. Uh Everybody loves the solo in the one on the Elder.
Mhm.
What was that song I wrote with Bob Ezrin?
That one I don't know, but the
That was
elders.
a crazy solo with bongos on it and stuff. But if my favorite solo that I did on the Elder is the a slow solo I did with a delay on what was that song Gene wrote?
Not I. A World Without Heroes. I don't know that much about the Elder. Sorry.
Uh, Yeah, there was a slow song that Gene wrote, and I did this really cool slow melodic solo with an Echoplex, and I listened to it today, and I go, "That's fucking brilliant."
Well, related to all that, from the band Blue October, the lead guitar player Steve Schiltz, he had a compliment and a question. He said, "Your vibrato when you play guitar is very distinctive, slower, and also more voice than most lead guitars." Did you focus on that when you were learning lead guitar, or is that just an organic?
Get, getting a good vibrato is something that you develop over the years. You just don't start playing guitar and have a great vibrato. I can go fast, I can go slow. Instead of, you know, pushing the string up, I can vibrato down. And I have, you know, 4 or 5 different vibratos that I, you know, use depending upon what kind of solo I'm playing. And I can vibrate, I can even vibrato with my pinky. I don't know how I do it, but it happens.
Wow. Kevin Baldus from the band Lit heard rumors that there's going to be another Kiss cruise and that you were on it. Is that something you can deny?
I would deny that absolutely.
The
I
actor.
didn't have a lot of fun on the first one I did, and I can't see me. I mean, if they paid me 250 grand, I'd probably do it, but
At least you're honest. Adam Bush, the actor and musician, wanted to know, where do you keep your Grammy?
where do I who?
Where do you keep your Grammy? Some people use it as a toilet
I
paper.
don't have a Grammy.
That's
Thought
not.
I did. I have some type of award given to me by the Grammy people, but it's not a Grammy. It's like a recognition. And I was doing an interview, I forget with who, and he said, "Do you have a Grammy?" And I said, "I'm not sure. I think I might." And I called up my girlfriend at the time, Rachel Gordon, and she she goes, she's looking at all my awards in the house, and she goes, "Yeah, there's something here from the Grammy people." But it wasn't a Grammy, it was some type of, I don't know.
Wow. And the last question before I let you go, you're forever associated with Van Halen because of the early days of Van Halen and Gene and all that. But
Yeah.
were you ever in the room much with David Lee Roth? Because I only hear stories about Eddie and you.
I mean, I knew David, we were friends. Uh, to be totally honest with you, me and Eddie really didn't do much together, you know. But people say I stole my tapping from Eddie. But to be totally honest, before Van Halen became famous, you know, when I was doing my guitar solo for Alive, and I used to tap with a guitar pick. Eddie Van Halen was down in the pit watching me, you know. But I mean, he took it to a whole nother level. May he rest in peace.
Absolutely.
I couldn't even begin to try to play some of the solos he's come up with.
Well, Ace, thank you for the decades of great art. Looking forward to seeing.
That's it.
Yeah, the world wants to speak with you today. Let's be mindful of your time here. And I'm looking forward to that show that you have coming up at the Palladium in a couple of weeks there. So thank you for being
I'm
you.
playing. It's the Sony Theater.
Sony, Palladium, it's all the same, right?
Oh, it is?
No, you're right, and I'm wrong.
Capacity there.
You're right. I screwed that one up, but we'll put the correct copy in the article.
Paltrocast.